Good morning. First of all, pardon me, I am fighting a cold, so if I suddenly have to stop and cough, you understand. So thank you. The purpose of this is to ensure that you have some more information about proctoring, the PSAT at the Alliant Energy Center. So let's start by digging into the slide deck. All right. First of all, a couple things upon your arrival as well as students. Parking is free. You'll enter through the doors of the Alliant Energy Center. Usually the doors to the right as you face the building will be the ones that will open. There will be two sets of doors that will be open. And in that front, as you walk in, there will be a registration table. The registration tables will be set up by school as well as by the hall that the majority of students will be testing in. I'll get to those students who have accommodations in just a moment. So there will be two registration tables, one for students at West and La Follette. They will be going into Hall B, which is to the left. Memorial, East, Shabazz, and any other students will be having a separate table, and they will be going into Hall A. If the students have accommodations, their tickets will be mixed in with the regular which school they belong to. However, theirs will be a different color, and they will be sent to a room, one of the Mendota rooms, for their accommodated test sites. So students will need to have some kind of an ID. It could be a driver's license. It could be a school ID. It needs to be a photo ID, or they are recognized by the person who is at the table and providing students their tickets. So at the table the students will show their ID. They would need to be at the correct school. And then they will get their ticket, which will have their username and password on it, which is exactly the same as that they used for their digital readiness test. The next thing students will do is there will be a table for both West and La Follette phones and electronics. There'll be another table for Memorial, East, Shabazz, and anyone else. So students will need to place their cell phones, turn them off, place them in a plastic bag that they will write their name on. Will be a label on the plastic bag. Earbuds, smartwatches, any portable electronics other than their Chromebook should be put in this bag, and then they will be held securely until the test is actually finished. They can take a backpack into the room for testing, and hopefully they'll have their fully charged Chromebook ready to go in their backpack. No other electronics are allowed. So if you hear a cell phone, if you see a smartwatch, etc., during the test, that will be an irregularity and possibly grounds to remove the student. Possibly. Don't do that on your own. Check with the lead proctor, check with me, and we'll follow the correct protocol. So students have they've got their tickets, they've given up their extra electronics. Now they will go to the correct room. So there will be colors tickets, and there will be paper on the door indicating that if you have a yellow ticket, you're at West, and you go West and La Follette, and you'll go to Hall B. There will be a yellow ticket or yellow paper on the door, so you can match that. Proctors who are seating students in each of the rooms will need to all you have to do is see that they have the appropriate color ticket for that room. Now, as students begin to come in, they will be at the front of the hall, and that's where we'll start putting them into rows. So each seat is got a letter and a number. So we'll start with 1A in the front left corner and go back 15 rows, then B1, 15 rows, all the way through the letter P as in Paul. So that will fill the room. Please note, however, there are 8 tables that are not for students to sit at, because they, at least initially, they will have white sheets of paper on there saying reserved for charging station. So if during the test the student needs to get up and move and charge, their Chromebook is running out of charge, there is a spot relatively close to them that they can go to and sit. So how does this look when you get into the Alliant Energy Center? So here is kind of a sketch of one of the halls. You'll see across the bottom I have going, there are letters A through P. Each table will have 2 letters on the front of it. So there'll be a white sheet of paper that has the letter A, then B, then C, D, etc. On each table will be a Post-it. And that Post-it will have the seat number. So the first one in this corner will be A1, then A2, A3, etc. So that will indicate which seat the student is in. You can see that I've circled the charging stations, so they will be mostly on the rows that are to the outside. So when you get to C, row C, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and then we'll skip 4, and then 5, 6, 7, skip 8, 9, 10, etc. So we'll fill the hall from A1 through P15 if that's necessary. So this side might have some extra, the left side, NOP might have rows that are not complete. So students will come in, you will direct them where to go. So this might be a team of 2 or 3 people, someone at the door pointing them towards the row, someone at the beginning of the row, and someone down the row showing students where they are to sit. Here's an example of the Post-it, what it would look like on the table. The lead proctor will announce, once everyone is seated, that the first thing students should do after they've settled in, jackets off, everything under their chairs, backpack, etc. They should print their last name followed by their first name on the Post-it note. Most students have done this if they've done advanced placement testing. So they will need something to write with at this point. If you have something to carry with you, a pen, several pencils or something, that would be great. So you can give that to them and then pick that up at the end. But they should have their name, last name, first name printed on the Post-it. Why? Because during the test, one of the really critically important pieces for proctors is to take attendance. Now you do this with we have a clipboard and have all the students who are in that room listed alphabetically by last name. So for instance, on this particular case, there's student A, here are the A's, here are the B's, etc. So you find the student's last name, and then you write in the next box which seat they're sitting in. So this happens to be 11, C15. They will not go in order. So don't worry about that. In fact, you will have, if you've got 2 clipboards going, which is probably a good idea, you'll have to merge them at the end to see who actually is seated where in each seat. So there will also show open seats for those students who did not show up. So this is how you take attendance and create the seating chart. During the test, once the lead proctor has gone through and gotten everyone set up and rolling, they'll have read through several screens. I'm sharing with you a document that just literally walks you through the steps of how to do that. You should be familiar with it, even if you're not asked to be the lead proctor. Things to do. First of all, once they've begun to take the test, you should be taking attendance. You should be walking around, seeing if students have any questions, making sure that once they're all logged in, ready to go, you should be picking up the white sheet that looks similar to this. There you go. It says, logging into the Wi-Fi network at the Alliant Energy Center 2024. Once they're testing, they don't need that sheet of paper anymore. So quietly, carefully pick that up, collect those, bring those to the front. Students will have on their table a piece of scratch paper. That sheet of paper is purple in color. So that's what they can use and ultimately that will need to be picked up as well. So at this point, once they've started testing, they have their ticket and they have the purple scratch paper. You can pick up the ticket at any time. If the student wants it, that's okay. It's no longer a secure document once they have logged into the test. Students may use the restroom at any time. However, if it's not break time, the clock on their computer continues to run. So they are forfeiting time by going to the restroom. But if that's a critical thing, then let them go. They cannot make up this time. There can be no more than one student in the restroom at any time. So if you have an example of 4 students who need to use the restroom, the first one that you see that you've dismissed is when they leave the restroom, you can get the second one to go. Please note, there is a 10-minute break in the middle of the test. And also that students will probably be finished early with the last test. They may be, they may not be, but they will suddenly say you'll suddenly get a whole bunch of students who need to use the restroom. You can do that. They will probably be in no hurry. So please keep that as a minimum to decrease the number of distractions for those students who are actually testing. Students need to stay even when their test is done until they are dismissed. So that is the next part. The reason is because students need to submit their tests. When everything is done, it should automatically go through the submission process. If the test is not submitted, the lead proctor will know that, and students will also know that because they won't get the successful submission page. They need to stay until that it is successfully submitted. Also, at the end of the test, if a student has borrowed a Chromebook, they need to return it. You may or may not know who has done that, but they will need to return it, and we'll have a checkout process so that in the end, if they walk off with a Chromebook, we'll know who has actually got it. And then prior to dismissal, somewhere maybe during the time when you're picking up the login scratch paper, you can pick up the student tickets as well. Those, again, will be colored based on which room that you are in. And finally, please don't be too upset if students have put that away, offer to take it. Most of them will want to give it up. It is no longer secure material. It will not allow them to log into a test again. So it's just essentially a sheet of paper. They should return that, just so you know. Dismissal. The lead proctor will dismiss students. It should be done in about half the room and then the other half. So if you choose to go A through H first and then I through P second, you can do that. Put a minute or two in between. Simply this decreases the crush on the tables where they're trying to pick up their electronics. So we'll get some space there. Students will need to have an ID to pick up their materials, their phone, etc. But it goes pretty quickly, and it would be much better if we stagger the release. And finishing up, the last thing you should do when the students have left is if you could please remove the Post-its from each table. Let the lead proctor know, as well as Tim Peterson, myself, if there are any irregularities, and we will report those. And I just want to say thank you so much for your help. It is so greatly appreciated, and we couldn't do this without you. So let me know if there's any questions. I will be meeting and available prior to the testing on Tuesday the 19th. Thank you.